I've heard a lot of people say that riding isn't a sport and you don't have to work hard to ride because they just think the horse does all the work, which isn't really true because the horse wouldn't do the work unless you were there instructing them and telling them what to do.
I heard that all through my high school career, and even now, I'm not considered like a coach for a sports team when I'm working with riders. I'm considered just, I guess, something else.
I think riding is definitely a sport, if not as difficult, more difficult than all the other sports that everyone thinks of. I guess people just think of horses as kind of girly because they're all pretty and they have really long manes and tails and they're all shiny and beautiful. But I've seen a lot of guys ride who are great, and it really depends because they just have to be a lot stronger than they think.
Horses don't have the same agenda that they do. Your horse is not a soccer ball. You can't just take it out whenever you want and kick it around and then put it back. You really have to see what the horse is thinking at the time, and that's kind of the biggest thing.
I think horses can definitely be dangerous because they're huge. Some of them are 2,000 pounds, but they're also gentle. And horses can teach you a lot, and you really shouldn't be scared of them because some horses can be just as scared as people as you are of them. So if you really learn to trust them and learn more about them, then you'll really appreciate them. I think eventing is definitely harder than it looks. The first phase of eventing is dressage, which really tests the riders and the horse's skill and how they work together as a team. So the horse's training and stuff like that. And that is no fences, just work in an arena with no jumps. And the second part is cross country, which is over a really long course, sometimes up to a mile or more. And you get to gallop and you get to jump pretty big fences, and you get to jump over logs, you get to go through water and do stuff like that. And on the third day is show jumping, which tests how fast the horse recovers from cross country because that's quite a workout for them. And that goes pretty fast. It's about a minute long, and the horse needs to jump about 9 or 10 jumps inside the arena. Cross country and show jumping both take a lot of effort on the part of the horse and the rider to clear every fence and to do a lot of galloping to make time. A lot of people think dressage is the easy part, but that's actually the tricky part for most people because your horse really has to listen to you well, and they have to react to everything you do, and they have to be really strong.
In dressage, we work them kind of like bodybuilders. We teach them how to be really strong. We teach them how to be very balanced, and that can usually lead to disastrous results, especially if you're asking your horse to do something that they don't want to do. From the time the horse is first broke, it's usually about a year of training before you can compete them at any of the sports with riding. To move up each level, we typically take about a year to a year and a half, and sometimes even 2 or 3 years to move up the levels because the levels are very progressive, but you can hit some blocks and it can be really hard to get to the next one.
Well, I was training Marley and myself to be conditioned for the weather and the difficulty in Kentucky for a couple months. We did a lot of work galloping to get him more fit and to improve his cardiovascular fitness. And we did a lot of jumping so he's more comfortable at the height. And we did a lot of work for dressage, which kind of involves him having to listen to me more, which he doesn't like all the time.
If we could say that show jumping is, something like figure skating where you're having to do, your tricks and then land and go on and then do a little trick and then land and go on. Dressage is kind of like the behind the scenes work. And so we're working in dressage. Think of dressage as like yoga for horses, where we're really working to increase flexibility, to increase strength, and increase suppleness. And so a horse that jumps well is also going to be one that is strong, that is supple, and is flexible so that they can get over the jumps without having to get hurt. So it's a huge thing to do the dressage and do the flat work to help your jumping. I'm kind of a perfectionist, and dressage is just, kind of allows for people like me to just get really into the horse, and we're always after that perfect 10. And so it's just been a lot of fun to kind of, channel my perfectionist and my type A personality into.
I actually got into eventing through Pony Club because Pony Club really likes eventing. That's what Pony Club was founded to teach. It really teaches you more, it just kind of expands your knowledge on horses, and you get to do a lot more.
I like it because it allows me to do dressage and then also to have a lot of fun in the stadium arena and then the cross country field, which we don't get a lot of on dressage only.
Which is usually your favorite and why?
Definitely cross country, because it's a pretty long course, and it's just really exhilarating and fun to go at high speeds for a while.
Riding's taught me to persevere, because if you're riding and your horse stops at a fence, you can't give up. You can't just let them get away with that. So it's taught me to keep trying until I get something right.
Not telling yourself that you're going to do badly or thinking that you are because you did before. So you just kind of have to believe in yourself.
And you really have to find out how they think and what they respond to, and kind of work around what they want to do, which is typically just eating and not moving, and not jumping for you. And so that's, I think, been the biggest thing, is just having patience and figuring out kind of what my horse wants and figuring out how to get him to do what I want using with what he wants.
I've learned a lot for responsibility, because you have to take care of your horse before you ride and after you ride, and you have to make sure you don't wear them out too much, because, they can get tired just as easily as we can.
Is that as people are going to moving up the levels and they're trying to go to the next level in pony club or in eventing or in dressage, they don't really take into consideration that the horse may not have the same agenda as them. The biggest thing that I've noticed that I really don't agree with is the trainers that get a little bit too involved in how their students are performing, and then they resort to kind of stressing the kids out or yelling at them or torturing them somehow, on the back of their horses when they're not doing what the trainer wants them to.
Because of the level of riding there, it was a championships competition, so most people had trust in their horses, but some people didn't, and that caused their horses to get nervous and stop at jumps or just not listen to them because they weren't sure what to do. They were just kind of confused at first because they didn't really know why their horse was misbehaving. And then they had to realize that they just had to listen to their horse, and their horse would listen to them. Trusting your horse is the foundation of your ride. And if you don't trust your horse, they just won't jump as well. They won't listen to you as well. So if you have a good relationship with your horse, you're always going to do much better. I really think people should appreciate eventing because it's so different from other sports, like all horse sports are. And people should just really be more aware of that. And it'd be great if more people came out and started riding.
Before judging it, just try it, and see kind of how it is. There are plenty of beginning riding stables around that can kind of give you a, really quick riding 101. And I think a lot of the people that start riding don't realize how much balance and how much strength it takes from the rider, and then how much timing it takes to being able to control a horse that, again, doesn't have the same agenda that you have. They don't know that you want to stay out on the rail. They don't know that you want to get them going forward and turn at the same time. And so a lot of it is just timing with your body parts and coordination. When you've dealt with a horse that's having a problem that can't explain what their problem is, it's a lot easier to deal with people, because people you can actually talk to and communicate with easier. I'd say it's a big stress reliever too. I'm in school full time now, and so just being able to go out to the barn and hang out with my horse, and my horse doesn't have the problems that people have, and you can talk to him without being judged, and it's really helpful in that way.